Pagan religions existed long before Christianity, and many worship the sun as an important god. Therefore, the winter solstice, which occurs every December, was an important time, as it signified the day where sunlight starts to last longer. Christmas was not always an important holiday for Christians, but it adopted some symbols from pagan traditions, including lights and celebrating with a feast. Christmas is a pagan festival that was invented to worship mother and child gods and also to be greedy.
So as you can see, even Alexa speaks the truth. So welcome to day 25 out of 25 of my Anti-Vlogmas series. We have made it to December 25th. And even though this is the last of the Anti-Vlogmas series, this doesn't mean that it's going to be the last of a string of videos, because I still have my New Year's Eve and New Year's Day that I like to vlog, and I might do a type of compilation or study video. I'm still deciding. And of course, you know, after the new year, sometime in early January, I will need to get into my very extensive and detailed 2022 planner setup, which I'm still working on. But it's very, very close, and I'm really excited about it. It's coming together very nicely. So we have some stuff, of course, that we're going to get handled today. This is a beautiful Saturday. It's sunny outside. We are in the 70s outside. So this is a good day to get some things handled. But first, I wanted to just do a review with you. And we're just going to review some of the reasons why I don't celebrate Christmas and why no Christian should ever celebrate Christmas. And I urge you not to skip past this section if you are an ignorant is blisser and have been skipping past these sections so far in this Anti-Vlogmas series, because I'm just going to go over just a few scriptures. Take a look. Search the scriptures for yourself. Be like the Bereans, right? And again, I just want to posit to you, if you do watch this part, but you haven't been watching my tidbits about why I don't celebrate Christmas in my previous Anti-Vlogmas vlogs in this series, then don't come to me in the comments with questions or rebuttals, because I've probably already answered them or handled them in the previous videos in this series. So you can just look back on those in my Anti-Vlogmas playlist on my YouTube channel. So let's turn to Jeremiah chapter 10. Let's start there. And then this time, now I went extensively through this and through a lot more verses in this chapter than I'm going to today, previously in this series. Remember, this is just a review, so I'm not going to go into massive detail. Okay, so Jeremiah chapter 10, let's look at verses 2 through 4. Thus said Jehovah, unto the way of the nations accustom not yourselves. So this is another way of saying we're not of the world. We're not supposed to be like the world. Okay, but now he's going to get into specifics. And by the signs of the heavens be not affrighted, for the nations are affrighted by them. And also one of the signs of the heavens that this would be referring to in aspect of this current time and season would be the false Christmas star, the Saturnalia star, which is Saturn. And Saturn has a six-pointed hexagon on its pole. It also presides, or it's also symbolized by the six-pointed star of Remphan in ancient literature and ancient tablets, which is the Saturn god of Saturnalia. Saturnalia was celebrated from December 21st until December 25th. December 25th being the birthday of the sun, S-U-N. All right, verse 3. For the statutes of the people are vanity. Now we know the statutes of the people here being talked about are religious traditions, because we just got into the context of that with the signs of the heavens. So he's talking about the religious customs of the people in the world around us, of the unsaved, are vanity. For a tree from a forest hath one cut. So one of their traditions is they'd go out to the forest, they'd cut down a tree, work of the hands of the artificer with an axe, cut it down with an axe, verse 4, with silver and with gold they beautify it. They are decorating the tree that they cut down out of the forest. With nails and with hammers they fix it, and it doth not stumble. And it is fixed in place, what today we would call a Christmas tree stand, so that it doesn't fall over. So we see here undoubtedly that the Bible already, we see, is telling us two things. One, we're not supposed to follow the religious customs of the people of the world. And two, we're not supposed to have Christmas trees. And like I said, in my further study on this earlier in the series, we went over in this chapter and how it showed that there was no differentiation between a decorated Christmas tree and a molten idol, even a molten calf, that they were both classified as idols. Okay, so now let's jump into the New Testament. Let's go to Acts chapter 7. And in Acts chapter 7, let's look at verses 42 and 43. All right, and then that says, and God did turn and did give them up to do the service to the host of the heaven, according as it hath been written in the scroll of the prophets. Slain beasts and sacrifices did ye offer to me 40 years in the wilderness, O house of Israel? So this is talking about how the children of Israel and their wanderings, they were going after, and even at the foot of Mount Sinai, they were going after or returning to the traditions, to the false gods that they learned about in Egypt. That some of them were, a lot of them, most of them were fully raised with and doing. How we would correlate that today would be synonymous or similar to Christians being raised celebrating Christmas, thinking that it was a good thing. So these Israelites, they came out of Egypt, and while they believe in the one true God, they are steeped in following religious traditions unto false gods, as was done in Egypt. Okay, verse 43, and he took up the tabernacle of Moloch. Moloch and Baal are the same guy. And the star of your God, Remphan, the figures that ye made to bow before them, and I will remove your dwelling beyond the Babylon. Now, the reason why I bring this up, Moloch, which is Baal, and Remphan, is this is ancient Saturnalia. This is a form of ancient Saturnalia. Remphan is Saturn, and then Moloch, his other name being Baal, was born on December 25th. So they're being reprimanded for partaking in an ancient form of Saturnalia, which is a predecessor to Christmas, and that God didn't want them partaking in that in any way, shape, or form. So they were reprimanded in the Old Testament, and here in the New Testament in Acts chapter 7, it is reiterating that same instance, that just like it was wrong in the Old Testament, it is still wrong today. We're still not to be doing any of the religious customs unto any of the false gods, such as Christmas is. So now let's jump back into the Old Testament and let's go to 1 Kings chapter 11. And let's look at verses 6 through 10. And Solomon doth the evil thing in the eyes of Jehovah, and hath not been fully after Jehovah, like David his father. And you'll see the context here, fully after Jehovah means that you're not following the religious customs to pagan gods of the people of the land. Okay, but David is considered in the Bible perfect, and we're called to be perfect. And the Bible defines the perfection being that you don't go after any of the gods of the land. That means you're not worshiping them or bowing to them, of course, but you're not serving them, but that you're also not doing any of their customs or religious rituals, because what is done in the physical does affect the spiritual. So verse 7, then doth Solomon build a high place for Chemosh, the abomination of Moab, the Moabites called Baal Chemosh, the dude born on December 25th. Let's see here, in the hill that is on the front of Jerusalem, and for Molech, the abomination of the sons of Ammon, the Ammonites called Baal, Molech. Verse 8, and he hath done for all his strange women who are perfuming and sacrificing to their gods. Notice it's not saying that he is perfuming and sacrificing to these gods, but he's supporting his wives in their pagan religious customs. So he's not fully doing it himself, but he's supporting them in doing it. And this is considered, as we just read a few verses earlier, evil in the eyes of the Lord. He's not worshiping these gods. He's probably not even believing in them, but he's still still serving them in a way, because he is still enabling his wives to partake in these pagan customs. And his heart, says, was not fully after Jehovah like David his father, which means he started partaking in some of these religious customs as well. Verse 9, and Jehovah showeth himself angry with Solomon, for his heart hath turned aside from Jehovah, God of Israel, who appeared unto him twice, and given a charge unto him concerning this thing, not to go after other gods. And he hath not kept that which Jehovah hath commanded. Now notice, God considered Solomon to have been going after the other gods, even though it only said he built the high places for them. It didn't say that he did any of the perfuming and sacrificing to them. It said only his wives did. But God still considered that Solomon was partaking in some sort of service to these false gods, which are Baal, who was born on December 25th. So just partaking in these ritual customs and traditions unto Baal angers God, because it shows that your heart's not fully after God. This also gives us a little bit of a definition of what the heart is and how to read the heart. The heart is as the action does. So you may say that you're celebrating Christmas, but in your heart you're loving God. That's not true. Your heart is for Christmas, or you wouldn't be celebrating. Your actions are what show your actual heart. And that's why the Bible repeatedly says in both Old and New Testaments, by their fruits ye shall know them. You'll know someone's heart by their actions, not by what they say they believe or by their words, by their actions. Thus our modern day saying, actions speak louder than words. All right, so let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 32 next. And in Deuteronomy 32, we're going here to get a definition for clarity for our next scripture. So we're just going to look at verse 17. And that says, they sacrifice to demons. No God, lowercase g, gods they have not known. New ones from the vicinity they come. Not feared them have your fathers. So the definition here is that behind the false gods, lowercase g gods, are demons. And that's reiterated in the earlier part of 1 Corinthians chapter 10. So let's turn to 1 Corinthians chapter 10. We're not going to look at where it's reiterated, but I do urge you to read the whole chapter of 1 Corinthians chapter 10. But we're just going to look at a few verses there. So in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, we're just going to look at verses 21 and 22. Okay, so we have the definition here that the false gods, lowercase g gods, have demons behind them. And then we know that idols were built unto these false gods. This tells us that there are demons behind the Christmas tree, behind the wreath, behind the mistletoe, behind the customs of Christmas itself, behind the Christmas feasting that unfortunately many people who call themselves the children of God are doing today. And this is feasting unto Baal, because this is Baal's birthday. Jesus was born on or around September 29th. And we can gather that very easily by looking at Zechariah, who is the father of John the Baptist. John the Baptist was 6 months older than Jesus, as we read about in the Bible. And we can look at the course of Abijah that Zechariah served in the temple. And then we can see the order of those courses in 1 Chronicles. And then that tells us when Zechariah served in the temple. And it was after he finished doing the course of Abijah that Elizabeth got pregnant. So then you just add 6 months to that, and you have Jesus' conception date. You add 9 months to that, and you have his birth. Then you match that up with the Jewish feast, because remember, Jesus came to fulfill them, and then match them up with looking in Stellarium. And if you go into Stellarium and look around the month of September, around September 10th, 3 BC in Stellarium, that would be -2 for the year in the astronomical year for 3 BC, and you will see the Bethlehem star, the Star of Bethlehem. It's actually a close conjunction between the King star Regulus and the King planet Jupiter. And on the day of Jesus' birth, around September 29th, you will see Venus, called the bright and morning star, which is a title for Jesus in the Bible, exiting the womb of the constellation Virgo, the Virgin. Okay, but Baal was born on December 25th. Baal was celebrated with Christmas trees. Baal was celebrated with merrymaking and feasting. Baal was celebrated with the mistletoes and the wreaths. Okay, so 1 Corinthians chapter 10 verses 21 through 22 says, "Ye are not able the cup of the Lord to drink, and the cup of demons. Ye are not able of the table of the Lord to partake, and the table of demons. Do we arouse the Lord to jealousy? Are we stronger than He?" It can't be more clear than that. Fact, Jesus was not born on December 25th. Fact, Baal was born on December 25th. Fact, the Bible tells us that the Christmas tree is an idol. Fact, the Bible tells us that behind idols are false gods, lowercase g, and behind those false gods are demons. Fact, the Bible says that we're not to partake of the Lord and to partake of demons, as we just saw. Are you committing that sin today? Have you been committing that sin? Repent of it now and come out of Christmas, brethren. We must walk the narrow path. The world celebrates Christmas. That's the wide path. We are to walk the narrow path of truth. And that is my little review or wrap-up, wrapping up the studies that we've been going through over these past 25 days as to just various reasons as to why I don't celebrate Christmas. And now we're going to move on to some other stuff that we're going to be getting done today. It's a nice, warm, beautiful, blue sky day, 78 degrees, and we are heading off to support one of our favorite businesses on this day, and that is our favorite Asian market.
Yeah, it's nice to go to a place that doesn't close on Vlogmas.
You see, the fact is, your heart is with Christmas, isn't it? I mean, you don't want to give it up because of...
the time we talked about what the heart wants and how to follow it. This conversation really stuck with me.
Yeah, see, Ether, we've been kind of talking with Ether about the whole heart thing. But these people, they don't want to give up Christmas. Why? I mean...
So I thought about it some more, and I think the important thing here is fear. Like, sometimes we know something to be true in our hearts, but can find a million reasons why it can't be true, because we're afraid. You know what I mean, right? I feel like they don't.
Yeah, but here's what's happening, Ether. They are not wanting to give up Christmas because of their heart. See, here's the thing. If you actually love God and you found out God didn't like something, but these people don't want to give up Christmas because of their fond memories of Christmas. Their heart is with the Christmas tree. They would find it an emptiness, and their heart...
That's really deep and true.
In their heart, they would feel like they were lacking something if they didn't do the Christmas tree and put up the lights and everything, like so many fond memories. Their heart is not fully after God. That's the problem, Ether.
I think I'm going to have to agree with you.
The actual proof that their heart is not fully after God is they don't want to even hear that Christmas isn't good. They want to skip over that because their heart is with Christmas. But Christmas is not with God, and that's what Candy has proven in this series. And so, Christmas is after the false gods. And your heart is therefore not fully after God, just like Solomon, if you can't give it up. And if you don't even want to hear, some people don't even want to hear about Christmas not being the right thing to do. Wow, Their heart's even more, is so far in with...
This is deep.
There you go. It's a deep one. Their heart is so fully in Christmas that they don't even want to hear anybody say it's wrong. And that's the problem with sin. When you're fully vested in sin, you won't even want to hear somebody talk badly about it. And that's what got the prophets of God stoned so many times. Candy's vlog series did a good job of proving that Christmas and God are not on the same page. And if so, the question is, whom shall you serve this day? As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord.